Welcome to the Speak Pact podcast, where high-performing speakers and the producers who hire them merge to give you the insider secrets to the lucrative speaking industry. Antoniette Rose, your podcast host and celebrated speaker agent, unveils insider success strategies. Discover a nexus of thought leaders and bookers, maximizing your potential in each and every episode. Your ticket to ultimate speaking success begins right here. Catch the transformative insights waiting for you on the Speak Pact podcast, hosted by the industry powerhouse herself, Antoniette Rose.
All right, Nona, we are live. Welcome everyone who is going to be joining us as we go along. This is very impromptu. We did not expect to come to you live today, but we were doing an interview and we said, why not? Why don't we bring it live? So here we are to celebrate it, I would say, speaker agents. And I wanted you would think, okay, aren't you guys competitors? Well, I believe that when we band together, right, for a common good, that all works out. It's all good and it makes us all stronger. So you guys get front row seats to two speaker agents today. Put your questions in the chat. We are here to answer them. And Nona and I are going to just be doing our thing, diving deep into what makes some speakers breakout stars in the industry? How do they become sought after and get those coveted gigs while the other ones work their bottoms off and kind of sit on the sideline, right? So we're just going to dive deep into that. So Nona Prather is here with me. Thank you for joining me today, Nona.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have this conversation.
Well, we've connected more than once, and we always just talk so deep, industry speak, right? And yes. I am super excited that we can share some of that with those who are wanting to take their speaking careers to the next level and maybe just feeling a bit lost. You've been in this industry for quite a while. I've been in this industry for close to 30 years, and you've seen a lot of success, right? But we always have that like kind of heartbreak when there's those speakers that just aren't getting the gigs for whatever reason. So what are some kind of key things that you see that is there a common thread between the ones who just seem to break out, get all the engagements and those who maybe it's a little bit slower to start?
Definitely. There's it's a long game in this industry. You can't just jump in and immediately be successful. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not a get rich quick. And I think a lot of people see a speaker up on stage and they think, oh, they must have got up there, they called the right person and immediately got up there out of luck. When the truth is they probably fostered that lead for months and months and months to actually get on that stage. And so it's not for the faint of heart. You really have to be passionate about your topic and really want to share and want to speak as well. So you have to have all of a combination of those things, determination, not giving up, because it's not easy hearing no a lot, like 95% of your calls that you do are going to say no. But the ones that say yes, you just have to keep going and fostering that lead. And eventually it will work out if you keep doing the work, but it's not an overnight success in this industry. It takes a long time.
I love that you said that, Nona, because sometimes I'm just like, we're working so hard, right? And
yes,
those breakout stars that we think are breakout stars, they have worked sometimes a decade or more. Tony Robbins himself, the breakout star, right? He hit that pavement hard. That guy has no lack of motivation, and he hit it hard for 10 years before he really started getting engagements. 13 years before he became a name, right, that people recognized.
Yes,
and it paid off. But You're exactly right. This is not, it's a long game.
Yes, definitely. My dad, I don't know if you remember my background, but I mean, I've been in the speaking industry for about 30 years as well. Because when I was a child, my dad started his own speaking journey in 1992, and he knew nothing, didn't know anyone, had never been to National Speakers Association or anything, or Toastmasters. He just knew that his company was asking him to speak more and more on behalf of them. And so he started out on his own journey, but it really took me, my brother, my stepmom, him, I mean, really hitting the pavement hard and just not giving up for 10 hours a day or so, doing phone call after phone call, email, fax, mailings. I mean, it was a long time, and it probably took him a good 5 to 8 years to start getting those regular events coming back again and again and again to get his calendar booked. Because but even whenever his calendar was booked, we were still in the background while he was traveling around trying to get even more and more. Because it's also another thing about the speaking industry people don't realize. Even if you are a successful speaker and your calendar is seemingly booked, you can't just give up and quit. You still have to have someone in the background continuing to do work the referrals, the testimonials, keeping up with those events, because if it's just one of those things, if you don't follow up with a decision maker, they're going to go at the quick and easy. They're going to Google the first name that comes up. So if you just have to keep top of mind at all times, which is a lot of work, but it is worth it in the end. It's just something in the speaking industry you just have to do. So yeah, having someone in the background that can continue to do that for you, like a booking agent, is very important to keeping your calendar booked.
This is so fun for me because I say this, but to actually have somebody who's been in the industry for as long as I have, right? And saying the same things. Thank you, Nona. Because this is arguably, yes, it's hard work. And a lot of big-eyed speakers don't really realize the costs right up front, but the payoff is huge if you stick with it. And the speaking industry is arguably, and I've got all the facts and figures, the most profitable industry you can get into if you're willing to pay that cost. I love that cartoon. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's this guy, pickaxing a tunnel, and he's just been pickaxing away and pickaxing away. And you're just seeing the kind of cutout side view. And he just like, okay, I give up. And he turns back around, and he was just like one pickaxe away from finally making it. And that's what makes the successful speaker. That's what separates the successful speaker from that who I gave that a try and it just didn't work. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and one connection can make all the difference as well. So I have this one client, his name was Gary. He was a conflict resolution speaker, and I sold him to the Concrete and Asphalt Association of Indiana, which a lot of people, I mean, you don't think about reaching out to them or calling them, but as a conflict resolution in construction industry, it was perfect for him. And he had never even thought about, pitching himself to that association. So I did that for him, and it turned out to be an amazing lead because the executive director of that association in Indiana loved him so much that they ended up using him at their annual event for a bigger, payout. And then he also ended up getting referrals to other states because there's an asphalt and pavement association, I think, for almost every state in the US. And he did a huge travel around. So that one lead and getting that one referral fan, I mean, that really kind of changed and broke him out and now he's considered the expert in that industry when they need a conflict resolution speaker. I mean, they're the one that he thinks of. They all have their books, they have his worksheets, they have everything. And we just kept looking for that one lead that would turn things around. And that really broke him out into it and led to much higher paying events in the end. And he got a reputation in the construction industry as the best speaker for their needs. So those are kind of the things that we do as booking agents. We're looking for those connections that are really going to break that speaker open. And it takes time, but once it happens, definitely worth it.
So worth it. And sometimes it comes in the ones we would never expect, like those engagements that, I don't know, maybe it only paid $1,500, maybe it only paid $3,500. And you're
Exactly.
like, but you know what? It seems like it could be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
And then that's the one, right? Where
Mhm.
somebody in the audience comes and walks up and says, hey, my organization, which leads to something else, which leads to something else. So I think that's another really great point that you made, Nona, is you got to look beyond the host check on
Yes.
everything that could happen with that particular engagement. I actually had a speaking engagement in July of 2023 that was supposed to have 8,500 people there. The hosts were not honest. I think,
Oh, no.
I don't know, it was a whole story.
Yeah.
But it wound up, I wound up with 10 people in my audience. 3 of
No.
them were my own speakers. So
Yeah.
really 7 people in my audience. And it wound up still being a $33,000 engagement for me. They didn't pay, and it was in a very expensive hotel. Just to park there was like $35 a day. Everything was expensive, right? And I didn't get a dime from them. They didn't reimburse my travel, but I was actually going to check it out for my speakers. I have a policy. I never book speakers for first time events. It
Yeah.
sounded, I almost broke my own rule because it
That's
sounded amazing. But I didn't break my rule, thank goodness. But I went ahead and thought, okay, I'm going to have the expense. I'll go ahead and speak because they asked me. And most of the people there who had flown in from all over the world, brilliant minds, walked away without a penny, right? Without one conversion. Great relationships, which
sometimes.
who knows what that becomes, but done right. If a speaker goes in with the right attitude and understands the totality of the opportunity, then it could be priceless, right? Sometimes you can't even put a number on the gain for getting your voice out there, even though you didn't get that $10,000 check that you deserve. So I love that you're setting the expectations right up front, so that I'm not a voice in the wilderness on my own, that you're
Right.
setting it as well.
I know. I love
Go ahead.
and I love speaking to other agents or bureaus who understand what it's like. Because sometimes, I mean, I love working with speakers, but the newer, greener ones, they kind of have this really large expectation, and we have to almost disappoint them. But I don't want to disappoint them or like squish their passion. Is just trying to be realistic about it. And then and like you said, like, and something interesting that you said when you said you have a rule about not booking your speakers for a first time event. I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really good rule. So I'm just curious, why do you do that? And maybe the audience is also curious about that too.
For this exact reason, it could
Yeah.
look perfect. Like it could look like an incredibly and it was an incredibly well put together event. But there's just that too many unknowns, too many things
Mhm.
that can go wrong. I wanted to make sure their sound was right. That they really did have it together.
Right.
I spoke with the organizers a month out, and they said that they had 6,500 tickets sold.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh wow, okay. Well, usually a lot of tickets are sold in the last month. They're surely going to get close to that 8,500 mark,
Yeah.
right? Once I got there, I don't know that I saw one lanyard that said attendee. It was either
Yes.
vendor, sponsor, speaker, but I don't remember seeing one that said attend. There was a mutiny on the vendor hall because people spent a lot of money
Oh, I'm
getting
sure.
all their goods there. It was really kind of heartbreaking to see that. It was a 4-day event. But what they did, so it was kind of honest, but not really honest. So this
Yeah.
is exactly why I have this rule. What they did is they sold blocks of tickets to corporations who
Oh,
then gave them for free to their people. Well, 90% of the people are not going to
yeah.
make the expense to go all the way to this expensive hotel for this
Right.
free ticket they got, right? So it was
Yeah.
they basically sold 6,500 tickets, but not really. So that's
Right.
exactly why. You don't know what you don't know. And so as perfect as it looked, all of their online presence, and I saw them getting out there, and they were on news stations and they were doing all the right things. It really, there was no reason to believe it would have been the bust that it was. But that's it. That's why, because you just don't know until you go put your eyes on it yourself.
And the thing about the free tickets to events, I have learned over the years that if someone doesn't pay something to attend an event, they just don't take it serious and they don't take time, even $50. So a way that speakers can get paid to speak, which is part of my book, 24 Ways to Get Paid to Speak, is for speakers to put on their own events, like small scale seminars where you charge a fee, some type of fee to come to that event. I have learned over the years that if you charge nothing, people don't show up. Even if you charge $50, people don't show up. It really needs to be, so I'm having a small scale seminar for retired athletes or athletes who are getting ready to retire and want to enter the speaking business. Me and my client Cam are doing that because anyways, so we're doing that together. We decided on $195 a seat because both of us have just experienced that. Like, you have all these people sign up and you're like, oh, come be my free guest, or here's a free ticket to this event. And then they just don't show up. So unless they have a monetary reason to come, it's just, yeah. So anyways, that's
I love that you brought that up, because I think a lot of times we want to do our own event. We're like, okay, let's make our own stages. And you're exactly right, Nona. Even if you there's been studies, even if you just charge $1, the fact that they took the effort to pull their wallet out, get their credit card, plunk in the numbers, whatever. Maybe that's old school. Maybe I'm revealing my age here, but however it is that you pay for something,
yes.
that $1 just psychologically says to them, this is important to me. I'm going to go show up. Right.
Exactly. By putting in their credit card. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it is an art and a science, and you're not going to just make it without deeper strategies, which is why you lean on those who've been in the industry for a lot longer than you have and have dealt with pretty much every kind of different situation. Right. And I love that you and I are on the same page with regards to setting expectations early on. I just assumed people understood, and that was a mistake, because they definitely thought, okay, within 6 months, I'm going to be a well-known name. I'm going to have all the speaking engagements. Right. Well, it never lets up. And I love that you brought that up, Nona, that even once you have quote unquote arrived and you are a sought after speaker, you never let up. It's just this constant thing, which is why you and I have the profession that we do, because the average it takes a lot of flipping work. Okay, so tell me why because I know you and I operate very similarly to, and this question kills me all the time, but it's very revealing. Well, I only, and this is a speaker who isn't already making $20,000 and $30,000 a gig and isn't already a well-known name. Well, I only want to pay you a percentage of what you get me.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that all the time. They'll be like, so instead of the monthly, which I have a call center. So, you get for your monthly fee, you do get 20 hours of phone calls and work. And we do a lot of, we work really hard on that portion, but then there's people who want, oh, can you do all that work? And then I just pay you a percentage. Well, that's not fair to us. We are doing the work, and we do have, me, you, we both have, VAs, and I have a call center that I'm trying to pay for and all of that. Like you said, it's a lot of work. So, yeah, it's a little frustrating when people only want to pay commission, but actually I have been told that people like that we take not only the monthly fee, but the commission, because we do have skin in the game to get bigger, to get the events. Like, we actually have motivation to get the events, which they really like, rather than bureaus who don't take anything until they get a booking. What's really driving them to push that client out there if they're not collecting, additional funds. I don't know. And then and I love doing what I do. And so that also allows us to be able to live our life and continue to help other speakers as well. So
exactly. And that fee, I know with you, because you and I have talked numbers, but neither your fee or my fee covers our team. Right.
no,
So we are still definitely working for that percentage.
yes,
But it's likens to me. It likens, okay, when you buy a franchise, you go into the franchise, they sit you down, they tell you, don't expect to turn a profit for 3 years, right? But we need $150,000 up front. We need this and this and this. You're going to have to go get the land, all the things. So you've probably sunk close to $1 million, if not more, into that franchise, knowing you're probably not going to make a profit for 3 years.
exactly.
Those speakers who are on a commission basis, that are solely commission, the agents that represent them vetted them. They wanted to make sure you've already done your part. You are already an in-demand speaker. So really all I have to do is drop your name, pretty much, to my contacts. You cannot be an emerging speaker, walk into an agency and get an opportunity like that. And if you happen to, you're going to be sitting on the bench most of the time. This is a partnership. We are partnering with you. You do your part, we do our part. Together, I recently read an article that said that the average speaker now, because of modern technology and things have changed, it can take 5 to 10 years instead of 10 to 15 years. But with an agent, we can cut that down generally in half because we're joining forces, sometimes even better than half, just depending on the speaker, the subject matter, the mood in the world, what's in demand. But it is still work, and it will always be work. To me, it's very highly rewarding work and amazing.
Yeah, me too.
But you're never just going to be able to kick back and wait for those engagements to roll in.
No, it's a consistent thing. If you are going to be a speaker, I tell everyone this is a long game. You are going to be every event. You need to be updating your speaker reel every event, or you need to be updating your one sheet. It's never going to be, oh, I made this one sheet 2 years ago and now I've never added to it. Nope. You need to keep updating those testimonials, those referrals, those companies on there. You need to be, I don't look the same as I did even 3 years ago. I'm grayer, I'm a little heavier. Like, they need to see what they are getting in the moment, and they want to see your most recent work. So in the speaking industry, it's one of those things that you have to always keep updating your website, everything. And so it's kind of one of those never ending industries. But like you said, it is very rewarding once you get those events. Like I'll go a couple days without selling one of my clients, and I'll be like, oh man, this is such a bummer. I'm so sad. And then I'm like, why do I do this? And then I'll sell a speaker and I'm like, oh, my energy comes back and I'm like, this is why I do it. This is why I do it, because this is the reason. I get very excited. Actually, me and my daughter, she's 11, and every time we sell a speaker, she comes home from school. Like, so we, try to do it as much as possible. We'll turn on music and have a dance party because we're like, yeah, we sold someone. It's so fun. So, your booking agent is, I feel like, as invested as you are in your business. We're really we feel like we're just trying to help as many people. And I personally love selling, where I sell someone that I'm feel passionate about their topic as well. I get very excited about that too. I'm sorry, my dog is barking out the window.
No worries. We love dogs. Gosh, you shared so much goodness there, Nona. And it is, anything worth doing is worth doing, right? And so what carries you through those more difficult, so my cat's going crazy. So if you're hearing things falling and crashing, that's my cat.
Probably with my dog, yeah. There's a tractor outside front door.
What carries you is that burning under that foundational reason why you're doing what you're doing. Yes. Right? Really, in any profession, any business that you build, this is no different. There's all the beautiful part of it, and then there's that gotta do it kind of part of it. And what's the payoff? Like, what's the payoff in the end? You're making incredible impact that is very difficult to rival in any other kind of profession or setting. You are your income potential is really unlimited. It is a very you can reach levels of prosperity through speaking that is very difficult to rival in other ways, at least on a long-term basis. But there again, it's not you just, okay, I'm a speaker and it's going to happen tomorrow.
No. I even have one of my clients, he's been with me for about 4 years. I mean, it started off kind of slow and then we got crazy busy where he was, getting like 4 or so bookings per month. And then it kind of dwindled down at the end of 23. So then he had to rehire us to come in for the booking or the call center portion where we were doing phone calls, and now he's getting his calendar booked again. But you could see where we stopped calling and when we restarted, his calendar got very light during that time that he decided to pause the phone calls because he wanted to join the holidays, which I totally understand. A lot of speakers will stop calling through November, December, because they're like, I just want to enjoy my time. But then you just have to think, are you willing to, like, this months later? Because, everything in the speaking industry is like in the head. Like the things we book now are probably not happening for 6 months to a year in advance. So that's why it's like you have to fill your calendar in advance. And if you stop calling during those slower times or the times where you're like, oh, I just want to take off, you're going to see it months later. You're going to see that lull and you're going to be like, I didn't call in November, so why is my March so light? Well, it's because you stopped calling during that time. You didn't continue out. Even though they're not making decisions during the holidays, you still have to be doing those reach outs, because when they come back to work and they don't have anything from you, who are they going to look at when they come back and they have to hire that speaker right away? So that's what happened. And so that speaker definitely learned his lesson on that. And so we've talked about it and we've decided, yep, we're never stopping ever again. And I was like, yep, that's a good decision. But, I try to tell that to a lot of clients, but still, I understand wanting to take off for the holidays, but I feel like you can still, unless it's like, take off a couple weeks here and there during Thanksgiving and Christmas, but still be having your workers in the background still doing the work on your behalf.
So true. Okay. So the way we handle this is we share calendars and they block out the times when they're just not going to be available. But we don't stop working. Like we continue working all the way through. I've got an international team. We're working here in the States and outside of the States, and holidays are different. So there's really never a day or a time where there's not somebody working for a particular speaker. Mm-hmm. So they may be having, a 4-day vacation somewhere or going off to do something, or maybe they're in a week-long conference that they're speaking at, right? But that back end work has to keep going because you're right. Just because you want 2 weeks during Thanksgiving off, if you stop work during that time, you're not affecting Thanksgiving. You're affecting 3 months from now, exactly. Right? And then you just have that lull. So really, really, really great point. Okay. We are live right now. If you're catching this later, there's so many gems, but I am going to take some questions from the audience because we've got some coming in. And we will start with, first of all, thank you everybody who's here. And it's hard for me to see your names unless you ask a question. So if you want me to see your name and call you out, just go ahead and ask a question. But right now we have a question from Sharina Jagger. Welcome, Sharina. Thank you for being with us. She is asking, how does someone who wants to start, okay, I guess what she's saying is, for someone who wants to start, where's the best place for them to start?
Oh, yes, definitely some local. If you're near a big city, they probably have an NSA National Speakers Association, or a Toastmasters, I would definitely start there, because the best referrals are oftentimes other speakers as well. So if you network with other speakers in your community, you can learn a lot from them and also get help from them as well. So, yeah, I definitely suggest kind of looking into those before you start. And then you can get some local, like freer events, so that you can get your marketing materials, like all of your pictures and stuff like that made. And then it's just a really good practice. And then part of my worksheet is like this stair step. So it tells like locals could be for free, but that's a great starting point. Then you get referrals to associations in your area. And then you get out to more associations, which in turn can lead to conferences and corporations. So there's kind of a stair step that goes into the speaking industry of where you need to start. So first step, local, free events, then associations, then you go to corporations and conferences, which are the higher ticket items, but they're harder to get into. And it's most speakers, I mean, unless they're just super lucky, most speakers really have to follow that kind of stair step method to get to those events. Pay your dues, basically.
Yeah, I echo everything that you said. I'll add this one other piece, and that is to become a local expert in an area. So in our area, there is this financial advisor guy. I don't know how he first broke in, but I can tell you how you can, right? So essentially, he got on with this particular news station. He became a weekly kind of feature where he would come and give some really great financial information. So it just became a weekly feature. You could do this in a magazine, a local radio, a local morning news station, whatever it is. But you just start reaching out to them. Hey, I have expertise in this area. I know it's on top of mind for a lot of people. I'm very willing to come, and they're not going to hire you for a series right off the bat, but to come and do an interview on that if that's a value, and create a little proposal and give that to them. You're going to do it for free, but just let them see a quick little outline that you're not going to be trying to sell yourself or selling anything. You're really just giving this valuable information away. And if you knock it out of the park and they get some good response, then the great thing is when they make you a feature. But even if you did a one-off for a bunch of different kind of regional stations, that puts you in the place where corporations see you, these associations see you, and then you just start getting these phone calls, and then those phone calls lead to bigger opportunities, That stair step is so good. It's like we want to skip all those steps and get right to those $20,000 engagements. And what you said, Nona, leads right into one of our live participants' next question. And it's do people speak in other countries? So if you'll let me, I'll kind of give my 2 cents on that. So start local. I'm with you there. And it organically builds. Yes. Right. I guess if you really want to go to Costa Rica and when you want to be there, you can try to knock on doors. But I think that's a much harder. Tell me what your answer would be to that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the more you do, the more you're seen. That's why people say, oh, I hate doing podcasts because they're not paid. But I mean, the more you're out there, the more you can share, the more people see your face and your topic. I mean, obviously that's the way to do it. And in social media, you need to be on everything. But anyways, I'm sorry. But going back to do people speak internationally? Yes, absolutely. So, sometimes it is word of mouth or just getting, I mean, I have clients in Costa Rica, Nicaragua. I have one in Prague. I have Sydney, Australia. I have one there, and Paris. And we have sold our US speakers to those events. And we've also sold, like, my Prague speaker wants to come and speak at the US, I think because the US pays the most for their speakers out of like any other country. And we also have the most conferences available as well. So other speakers from other countries will come over here and speak as well. And I think it's one of those things. It's not always people, like, once you're a professional, sometimes still the local people that you started out with will think they can get a deal from you. And it is, even though you want to start local for free, you don't need to continue to do the free for your local, because once you're actually getting paid, then you should say, well, I actually am getting paid now. I mean, you can do a discount for having local, which we do, but a lot of people really also like to hear from experts and professionals that have been in the industry for a long time that are different from themselves. So my dad, who's from Arkansas and has a very thick Southern Arkansas accent, people in New York and Chicago and the people I sold him to Africa, Canada, they actually love to hear him speak because of the accent difference.
Mm.
But then when people ask him for local, it's like free or discounted events, which is totally fine. You should still be very active in your community. But yeah, whenever you get into the bigger area, yeah, people love different speakers with different accents and bringing them in. So that can be a really good avenue to like make as an eventual goal.
Hmm. So I'm going to play a little bit of this is fun. So I have a little bit different philosophy on that,
Okay.
which is I loved hearing your perspective. So I'm going to throw mine out there. When it comes to a speaking engagement, you're not getting paid for your hour. You're not getting paid for your 3 hours if it's a workshop. You're getting
Yeah.
paid for your decades of what you bring to the table. So when you're asked to do a remote event or something local, yes, we'll sometimes quote unquote discount, but I don't ever package it that way. And I have a suspicion you don't either. I would say I'm $15,000 for an engagement. I see that your budget is only, let's say, $5,000, right?
Mhm.
Since I don't have to travel, I'm already saving you on the travel costs. So there's some savings there. What can we do to make up the gap between, let's say, the $5,000 and the $15,000? Because I
Mhm.
want every time you take an engagement, you're branding yourself. And speaker bookers talk to each other. So if
Yeah.
somebody says, do you know of this amazing, do you know of a good speaker agent who can come in and talk? And like, yes,
Mhm.
contact Nona Prather. She's great. And guess what? She's only $5,000, right? There's that conversation versus, yes,
Yes.
Nona Prather, she's amazing. She's $15,000, but she will work with you if that's not your budget. So call her, talk like you're branding every single time. And I make them
Yes.
pay for it. They have other budgets. They might be 100% honest in saying we only have $5,000 for our speakers. But you and I know, Nona, that they have L&D budgets, they have other budgets we can get into, right? And then let's say we tap those out and we're still not up to par. There's other valuable things that they can do. They can make some introductions for us. Thank you, babe. My husband just brought me.
Oh, no.
It's so sweet. They can make some really important introductions, and that would be part of the agreement. There's other things. So make them work for it, because you're not going to bring half yourself. Like if you get paid half, are you only going to bring half of your knowledge? You're only going to bring half of yourself. So I get that. To me, that's a little prickly. That's a little area that I get a little prickly about.
Oh, yes. My dad told me one time, I said, "Hey, I got a speaking event, but they only paid 1,500 when, I want like 5,000 plus 1,500 for travel." And he goes, "You know what? Go and speak like it's a $10,000 gig and get all you got, because you never know who's in the audience and who's going to hear you." So that was his advice to me, because I was kind of bummed. And he's like, "Ah, no, just do. I mean, you got a free trip, whatever. Just go out there like you're getting paid $10,000. Don't let them know either way that you got less than what you wanted." And so that was really good advice. And then like you said, when meeting professionals do talk, so whenever someone does say, "I only have this amount," so I'll put what their speaker fee is, like $20,000, but then waived on the contract that says what they're actually paying, so that way they know they are a $20,000 speaker, but you're getting them for five. Because like you said, whenever they talk, I don't want them to say, "Oh, you can get her for 5,000," when it's like, well, you see on your contract, I'm a $20,000 speaker, not a $5,000 speaker, but I did it for you because I negotiate with your budget. And also, honestly, because they do talk, the people who are divas or kind of like hard to work with, that reputation gets around as well, not only to book
Yes.
agents, but to decision makers, corporate event planners. Trust me, if you're kind of a butt to to someone and very demanding diva-ish and not willing to negotiate, that gets around as well and can be a career killer. So you do really need to be willing to kind of be open about things. And I mean, eventually you will get to that bigger ticket item, but and it's really it's about relationships. I can't stress this enough. That's probably my number one thing I always try to tell everyone. The speaking industry is a relationship based industry, and people go with people that they know and that they like. So you're
Mhm.
just remember, you're not the star of the show. Whether you're the big keynote or whatever, you're there for the corporation or the company conference, whatever. You're there serving them. It's not all about I'm the star up on stage. Look at me, listen to me. I mean, yes, you're the star for like the first keynote hour, but after that, you need to be a servant to get additional, to get additional bookings after
Yeah.
that. And another thing that you said, I'm sorry, I keep coming back to other things. Like whenever if they don't have a budget that you like or that you need, like whenever you're saying thinking of other ways to fill the gap, we negotiate book sales for our clients that have books. Or I have one client that has journals. It's really just a gratitude journal, blank journal with his logo on it. I mean, there are things that you can ask for in addition that will come out of another budget. So like they'll have a
Mhm.
speaker fee budget, a travel budget, and then they'll also have an education budget where they could possibly buy like a number of copies of your book for their attendees, which will in turn, I mean, you get additional fee because you're making money off your book. So, and if you don't ask, you don't know. So always
Yeah.
say, "Oh, did you also know I have a book?" And then that can oftentimes lead into additional sales as well. And then what's better than getting all of your book in the hands of all the attendees?
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, sorry, that
We're
was a
gonna have to
lot.
do that. We're gonna have to do this again because we have like a bunch of questions. I'm gonna give you
Well,
two more questions,
right.
but we're just touching on it, right? And so I really want to do this with you again. Nona, this has been a lot of fun. And again, what I love is if you want to just look at the black and white of it, we're competitors, right? But
I mean,
I believe in collaborators and
yeah, I don't
collaborators versus
think
competitors because everybody comes with their own flavor. I think when we link arms together, we're all stronger. We're all working towards the same thing, getting the voices out there, getting the messages and the solutions that people lay awake crying out for, getting them into the ears and the consciousness of those who need them. So why not? Why not work together? I just love it. And I
I
cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't view other booking agents or bureaus as competitors because we do oftentimes work together. Because just like decision makers, we talk as well. And we'll be like, hey, if you have an event where I have this really amazing speaker who I think could be like the next big thing. If and then we share commission, but which doesn't take anything out of the pocket of the speaker or the executive director or the planner of the event. It doesn't take anything out of their pocket. But I think that increasing our reach by working together, it not only helps us build our business, but it helps the speaker build their business as well. So, I mean, I kind of
Yes.
view other booking agents rather than competitors. I view them as like we can help each other spread the word. I am totally fine with that, sharing commission, because I want to book my clients just as much as you want to book our clients or
Yes.
clients, so working together to and I think most booking agents and people who do this as a living, we have a servant heart. We want to help. I mean, we
Hmm.
didn't get to this because we want to be the star of the show. We want to help others, and we really love to help others succeed. And if you don't have a servant heart, it's probably not a good idea to be a booking agent, because that's our main goal, is to increase our clients' reach.
It's a labor of love for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
And thank you for voicing what I feel. You voiced it so beautifully. And I'm 100%. So recently, just for the audience, I had 2 engagements that were amazing opportunity, but I did not have the perfect fit speaker for that engagement. So I
Right.
came to you. You had the perfect fit speaker. We worked
Exactly.
together. That
Exactly.
is serving. It's serving not only the client but also the producer, the host, the booker, the organizer that we're working with, and it's really just. I love it. I love working with you. Like I just love doing that. It's all towards the bigger, grander goals, and that's the difference between being short-sighted
Yes.
and seeing the longer game, like really being sustainable in this industry. So everybody who's here with us, thank you for being here. I would love for you all, and Nona, you haven't gotten the invite yet, but it's coming on on February 29th. If you're catching this beforehand, I hope you are. February 29th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We're going to bring top minds in the speaking industry together in this same space where we get to, you guys actually get to be on screen and meet these brilliant minds face to face, ask questions. We're going to have top media experts here, hopefully, other agents here. We're going to have speakers who were once emerging speakers who have actually made it. We'll have TEDx organizers here, and it's going to be what we call the after party of this podcast, Speak Pact. Come, it's free. I don't know if you'll ever have this opportunity again. It's never going to be the same mix of people. And this is really exclusive to the culmination of the whole month long Speak Pack launch party that we've done. So the after party is not this Thursday, but next Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. You can sign up. It's free to get your invitation. Speak Pact as in impact. Speak Pact, PACT.com, to get your invitation. Go there. How can, I know that there's going to be bunches of people before we end with these last couple of questions. How can people find you, Nona?
Yes, I love having discovery calls and meeting any and everyone and talking about this subject. So at my website, so prather-marketing.com. So it's my last name marketing.com. And I think you can book a discovery call with me on there. Or you can email me at Nona, Nona, at Prather, which is PRATHER-marketing.com is my email. And so to set up a discovery call, just to have a one-on-one conversation. I love doing Zoom meetings. I'm an extrovert. I love to talk to people. So yeah, so I love to meet anyone. Yeah.
And you have a gift. You have a gift for everyone as well.
Oh, yes. So I do have, I think it's about 5 pages. It's my packet. It's how to market yourself as a professional speaker. And it has, my Forbes article that I wrote about how to get paid to speak. It has that in there, and it has some tips about social media. It has tips about how to get paid, how to find events, and then a worksheet that explains, basically where to find events, which ones pays, and all of that. So and I have a QR code. I don't know if I can send it out, or if I send it to one of y'all, I have a QR code so that you can download it, that free packet. It's kind of a condensed version of my book.
Okay. So I have a choice I have to make here. We have 3 minutes because I have a whole set of people that are coming in. So we've got a bunch of questions. I was going to pull 2 out, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the link to the live of this. If you'll go in and kind of answer some of the questions, I'll do the same. So all the rest of you who have asked questions, we will come to the DMs and we will physically answer some of those questions. Nona and I are committing to that. Because I really want to end on our cornerstone question, Nona, and that is the show, Speak Pact, is all about us making a pact to make our biggest impact in this world. And so I always ask my experts that I bring onto the show, and they're always leading experts in the speaking industry, what is one challenge that you would give to this audience of high performing experts in their field, in their rightful field, who want to get their voices out there in a broader way? What is a challenge that you would leave them with today?
So my business coach, and he was president of National Speakers Association as well, Mark LeBlanc, he always says, make 3 moves per day that will increase your business. So that's whether it's replying to a very important email, maybe that you've been nervous about, getting on the phone and calling a hot lead, or sending your book to a particular person who you really want to work with. So my challenge is for 3, just every day, 3 times a day, do something that will impact your business in a positive way. So, that's my challenge. And then, Mark LeBlanc has his achiever circles, which I go once a year to all of them. I think it's like $200 a seat, and he's a business coach. And I'm not trying to do like an ad for Mark, but I really do believe, because he has helped me be successful personally in my business and for booking more speakers. And that was his advice. And I do 20 a day, but 3 at the minimum. So that's my challenge. And then maybe look up his achiever circles if you're interested, because those are game changing for any business owner who's a speaker.
Okay, amazing. And the power of consistency, right? Without consistency, this just isn't going to be sustainable.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to reach. So beautiful challenge. If you're serious about your business, grab people to partner with you, but don't sit back. Don't think it's just going to happen. You've got to put in your sweat equity as well. That's how you build any successful, prosperous, long-running company. And that's what this is. This is a business. So treat it as you would any other business, right? The payoffs, I think, are bigger. And I think the sweat is a little less than if you were going to try to sell hamburgers, right?
Oh, yeah.
For a franchise or whatever else it might be. But it still takes upfront investment and consistent investment forevermore, if you're serious about it. Yes. Yeah. Great challenge. And thank you for being with us. Nona, you've been a wealth of information, and it's been so much fun getting to talk shop and just expand on what we both know.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Email me the questions. We'll get to those. And I have a call coming up. So
okay. All right. Ciao for now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to the Speak Pact podcast. To become a recommended speaker of Antoniette's WPC speaker agency, or you are a host or planner looking for a dynamic expert in optimized performance, Antoniette would like to personally meet with you. Secure a time with her at speakerbooker.com. Again, that is speakerbooker.com. It all begins with a vision, a voice, and a pact to impact. Join the Speak Pact movement by joining our new private Facebook group at the link in our show notes. Find us on nearly every social media platform at One Antoniette. That's number 1, ANTONIETTE, or simply #SpeakPact.